Chosen one, the secret a woman has kept from your soulmate is about to explode. God says, "My child, listen carefully." Heaven has brought you to this message at a moment when your heart is ready to understand something it could not see before. There is a secret a woman has kept from your soulmate, and the reason it remained hidden may be far deeper than you imagined. For a long time, this truth may have stayed behind silence, unfinished conversations, and memories that never received a clear ending. But now, Heaven is asking you to pay attention. Something hidden is moving closer to the light. Comment, "Heaven will reveal the truth," if you are ready to receive this message. My child, listen carefully. Do not rush away from this message, because the first revelation is not about what she said. It is about what she deliberately chose not to say. Heaven sees the moments that people hide from one another. Heaven sees the words that were swallowed before they could be spoken. Heaven sees the questions your soulmate carried without receiving complete answers. And there is one unanswered question connected to this woman that may have quietly shaped his emotional journey. Your soulmate may have believed that he knew the whole story. He may have trusted an explanation that sounded complete on the surface. Yet somewhere inside, something never fully settled. There was a missing piece. There was a silence where an important truth should have been. There were moments when his heart felt uncertain, even though his mind tried to move forward. My child, listen carefully. Heaven is not asking you to accuse anyone. This message is not about creating fear or suspicion. It is about understanding the difference between what was openly shared and what may have been kept hidden. Sometimes a person keeps a secret because they fear losing control of a situation. Sometimes they stay silent because revealing the truth would change someone's understanding of the past. And sometimes, a person remains silent because they know that one honest sentence could completely change another person's emotional direction. This is why the secret matters. The woman may have known something your soulmate needed to understand, but she chose silence instead. She may have believed that time would make the truth less important. She may have thought your soulmate would eventually forget the unanswered questions. But heaven is reminding you that unanswered questions do not always disappear. Sometimes they wait quietly inside the heart. Sometimes they return when a person finally becomes strong enough to face them. Your soulmate may now be entering that emotional place. He may be looking back at certain memories differently. He may be noticing details that once seemed insignificant. A conversation that once sounded normal may suddenly feel incomplete. A decision he once accepted may begin to look different. A sentence from the past may return to his mind with a completely new meaning. My child, listen carefully. This is where the hidden secret begins to become important. The truth may not arrive through a dramatic announcement. It may begin with something incredibly simple. One message could raise a question. One old memory could connect two separate moments. One unexpected conversation could reveal why someone behaved differently than your soulmate remembered. The smallest detail can sometimes unlock the largest understanding. And heaven wants you to recognize that possibility without forcing it. Do not chase the secret. Do not confront anyone because of this message. Do not allow curiosity to steal your peace. Heaven is guiding you toward discernment, not fear. There is a difference between being spiritually alert and becoming emotionally overwhelmed. Your soulmate has his own journey toward clarity. You have your own journey toward peace. What is meant to become clear can become clear without you destroying your peace to find it. Stay with me, because the next piece carries an even deeper meaning. The woman may have kept this secret because she knew your soulmate would see the past differently if he knew the complete story. Perhaps she feared that his feelings would change. Perhaps she feared that he would question decisions he once made. Perhaps she feared that he would finally understand why certain things never felt completely right. The secret may have been protected because the truth carried emotional consequences. And that is why the silence lasted. But silence can only protect a story for so long. Eventually, reality asks to be understood. My child, listen carefully. There may be something your soulmate has blamed himself for without having the complete picture. He may have wondered why a certain relationship affected him so deeply. He may have questioned why his heart resisted moving forward. He may have believed that something was wrong with him because he could not fully explain his own emotions. But heaven wants you to consider another possibility. Maybe he was trying to understand a situation without having every piece of information. Maybe the confusion was not a weakness. Maybe the confusion came from missing information. That realization could become deeply emotional for him when the truth finally becomes clear. Do not skip this message. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there is another layer that you need to understand. The secret may involve something your soulmate was supposed to know much earlier. It may explain why the woman acted differently at certain moments. It may explain why some conversations ended before they reached the truth. It may explain why your soulmate carried questions that he could never put into words. And when those pieces begin connecting, he may realize that the past was not as simple as he once believed. This does not mean every fear is true. It means clarity can change perspective. Heaven is asking you to remain calm while that perspective develops. The revelation may not arrive exactly as you imagine. It could come through an honest conversation. It could come through a forgotten detail. It could come through someone finally admitting that they were not completely honest before. Whatever form clarity takes, the emotional impact may come from one simple realization. Your soulmate may finally understand why something inside him never felt completely settled. My child, listen carefully. The woman may have believed she could keep this secret buried because she thought nobody would ever connect the missing pieces. But heaven sees every hidden motive, every unanswered question, and every moment when someone chose silence instead of truth. The purpose of this message is not to make you fearful of what is coming. The purpose is to prepare your heart for clarity. There may be a moment when your soulmate hears something that makes him pause. He may remember an old conversation. He may suddenly understand why a certain event always felt incomplete. He may realize that someone he trusted did not give him the entire picture. And when that realization arrives, his first emotion may not be anger. It may be shock, sadness, and deep reflection. He may need time to process what he learns. He may need to separate the truth from the story he carried for years. That is why heaven is telling you not to rush the process. Let the truth reveal itself naturally. Your soulmate does not need you to rescue him from his past. He needs space to understand it. And you need peace while he does. But remember this carefully. The secret is not the final revelation. The reason behind the secret may be even more important. Why did she hide it? What was she protecting? What did she fear your soulmate would discover about the past? And why does this hidden truth matter now, at this exact emotional moment? My child, listen carefully. The answer may connect directly to a decision your soulmate once made, a choice he believed was based on truth, but may now understand differently. That is where the next revelation begins. Because once the missing piece appears, your soulmate may finally ask the question that changes everything. What else was never told to me? My child, listen carefully. Heaven is bringing you deeper into the part of the message that your heart has been waiting to understand. Your soulmate has carried a question for longer than you may realize, and that question is beginning to rise again. He may not know why certain memories have suddenly become louder. He may not understand why an old conversation keeps returning to his thoughts. But heaven is showing you that the hidden secret is connected to something he once accepted without knowing the complete truth. The woman who kept this secret may have believed the past was finished. She may have convinced herself that silence was the kinder choice. Yet heaven knows that hidden truth can create an invisible weight inside the heart. The longer it remains hidden, the more difficult it can become to explain when the truth finally appears. My child, listen carefully. There is a reason this message reached you now. You are being reminded that not every unanswered question needs to be solved by force. Sometimes clarity arrives when the people involved are finally ready to face what they avoided before. Your soulmate may be reaching that point. Something inside him may be changing. He may be becoming less willing to accept vague explanations. He may be looking at the past with greater maturity. He may be asking himself why certain pieces never matched. And that is where the secret begins to lose its power. A secret becomes powerful when nobody questions it. But once the right question is asked, the hidden story begins to weaken. Your soulmate may soon ask a question that was never asked before. He may wonder why that woman avoided a certain subject. He may remember how quickly she changed the conversation. He may remember an explanation that sounded convincing at the time, but now feels strangely incomplete. These memories may not prove anything by themselves. Yet they can create a desire for honest understanding. Heaven wants you to notice the emotional shift, not create a fearful story around it. Do not let imagination become stronger than wisdom. Stay grounded while remaining open to clarity. My child, listen carefully. The woman may have kept this secret because she knew that your soulmate's understanding would change if he knew the truth. Perhaps she feared losing the place she once held in his life. Perhaps she feared that he would see an old situation through completely different eyes. Perhaps she believed that keeping quiet would prevent emotional pain. But heaven is showing you something important. Protecting someone from a difficult truth does not always protect their heart. Sometimes it only delays the moment when they must finally understand what happened. Your soulmate may now be entering that delayed moment. He may be realizing that some of his emotional reactions had a reason. He may understand why trust became difficult in certain situations. He may recognize why he kept searching for closure even after believing he had moved on. The hidden secret may not simply reveal something about the woman. It may reveal something about your soulmate's own emotional history. It may show him that he was trying to make sense of a situation without having all the information. That realization can be powerful. Imagine carrying a puzzle for years while one important piece remains missing. You can still see the picture, but something always feels wrong. Then one day, the missing piece appears. Suddenly, several details make sense at once. This is the kind of emotional shift heaven wants you to understand. The revelation may not change every part of the past, but it can change the meaning your soulmate gives to that past. And when meaning changes, the heart often begins to release what it could not release before. Do not skip this message. Stay until the end, because there is a deeper reason this secret matters to your connection. Your soulmate may have learned to protect himself emotionally because of what he believed happened before. He may have created distance whenever feelings became too serious. He may have questioned whether trusting someone completely was safe for his heart. He may have carried those patterns without realizing where they began. If the hidden truth explains even part of that history, then learning it could help him understand himself differently. Heaven is not promising a specific event. Heaven is inviting you to see the possibility of emotional clarity. And sometimes clarity becomes the beginning of healing. My child, listen carefully. There may also be another person who knows part of the truth. This does not mean a dramatic confrontation is coming. It may simply mean that the secret has not been as isolated as your soulmate believed. Someone may have noticed something years ago. Someone may remember a conversation that your soulmate never heard. Someone may have remained silent because they did not want to interfere. Now, circumstances may be changing. People grow. Perspectives change. Old situations can be understood differently after enough time has passed. A person who once stayed quiet may eventually decide that honesty matters more than avoiding an uncomfortable conversation. This is why the secret feels close to breaking open. The pressure is not necessarily coming from conflict. It may be coming from a growing need for truth. And your soulmate may sense that something is different before he even knows what it is. He may feel an unusual pull toward an old memory. He may suddenly want to revisit a conversation. He may find himself thinking about a person he thought he had completely understood. These moments can feel random, but heaven encourages you to observe them with calmness. Do not force meaning onto every coincidence. Simply notice what brings greater clarity and peace. My child, listen carefully. There is something else you need to know about the woman and her secret. She may have believed that your soulmate would never discover the missing information because enough time had passed. She may have thought the story had become too old to matter. But time does not automatically erase significance. Sometimes time gives people enough distance to finally recognize what they could not recognize before. Your soulmate may now have the emotional strength to understand something that would have overwhelmed him years ago. That is why the timing feels different. He is not the same person he was before. His perspective has changed. His priorities may have changed. His understanding of love may have changed. And because he has changed, the truth may carry a completely different meaning now. What once would have caused confusion may now create clarity. What once would have caused emotional resistance may now help him release an old belief. This is the part heaven wants you to hold close. The secret may be approaching the surface, but your peace must remain stronger than your curiosity. You do not need to search for hidden evidence. You do not need to question every person around your soulmate. You do not need to create a story before the truth arrives. Let clarity speak for itself. If something needs to be revealed, it can be revealed without you damaging your own peace. And when your soulmate finally sees the missing piece, he may experience a powerful emotional realization. He may understand that the past was never as simple as he thought. He may recognize that someone made a choice to keep information from him. He may finally understand why a certain chapter of his life never felt completely closed. But the most surprising part may come after that realization. He may begin to look at his present differently. He may start questioning what he truly wants now. He may realize that his future should not be controlled by an incomplete version of his past. That is where your connection becomes part of this message. Because heaven may be preparing your soulmate to separate old emotional patterns from the possibility of something new. The secret may expose the past, but its greatest purpose may be helping him stop carrying the past into his future. My child, listen carefully. The woman may have hidden one truth for a long time, but the revelation could uncover another truth your soulmate has been hiding from himself. He may have been afraid to admit what his heart truly wanted. He may have been afraid to acknowledge that certain feelings never completely disappeared. He may have believed that moving forward meant forgetting everything behind him. Yet heaven may be showing him that moving forward can also mean finally understanding what happened. And once he understands that, one final question will remain. What will he do when the secret is no longer a secret? That question is where the next revelation begins, because the truth may not only change how he sees the woman who kept it. It may change how he sees the future waiting in front of him. My child, listen carefully. Heaven is now bringing you to the point where the hidden truth begins to affect the present, not only the past. Your soulmate may have spent years believing that one chapter was completely understood, but there is still a missing sentence in that story. That missing sentence may explain why his heart sometimes became quiet when certain memories returned. It may explain why he struggled to trust what he felt. It may explain why something inside him kept asking for an answer, even when he told himself there was nothing left to understand. Heaven wants you to recognize this moment with peace. The secret is not being revealed so you can live in fear. It is being brought into awareness so confusion can finally lose its hold. My child, listen carefully. The woman may have thought she was protecting an old situation, but she may not have realized how deeply silence could affect your soulmate. When someone receives only part of a story, they naturally create their own explanation for the missing parts. Your soulmate may have done exactly that. He may have blamed himself for something that was never completely his fault. He may have believed that he was not enough. He may have believed that he misunderstood someone's feelings. He may have even believed that his own heart was the reason a certain chapter ended the way it did. But heaven is showing you another possibility. What if he never had the full picture? What if one hidden truth changed the meaning of everything he remembered? That question is becoming important now. Something may be causing him to revisit the past with new eyes. It could be a conversation, a memory, or simply a moment of quiet reflection. He may suddenly remember words that seemed ordinary before. He may notice how someone avoided answering a simple question. He may recognize that an explanation from years ago had a strange gap in it. These details may not immediately reveal the secret, but they can awaken his desire for clarity. And once a person sincerely wants the truth, silence becomes much harder to maintain. This is why you are being asked to stay calm. My child, listen carefully. Do not assume that every unusual moment means something dramatic is happening. Heaven does not ask you to become suspicious of everyone around your soulmate. Instead, you are being invited to understand the emotional movement behind the situation. Your soulmate may be becoming more honest with himself. That is the real shift. He may no longer want to pretend that the past does not matter. He may no longer want to carry an unanswered question just because asking it feels uncomfortable. He may begin to understand that closure does not always come from forgetting. Sometimes closure comes from finally knowing what was missing. The woman who kept the secret may have believed that revealing it would create too much change. She may have feared that your soulmate would make a different decision if he knew everything. She may have feared that he would stop looking at the past through the story she gave him. And that fear may have kept her silent. But heaven reminds you that truth does not need permission to become understood. When the heart becomes ready, even an old mystery can return with new meaning. Do not skip this message. Stay until the end, because the next part of this revelation touches something even closer to your soulmate's heart. There may be a reason he never completely trusted certain promises. There may be a reason he became cautious when someone offered emotional reassurance. There may be a reason he needed more time than expected before opening his heart again. These patterns can come from many experiences, but heaven is asking you to consider that one hidden chapter may have influenced them. Your soulmate may have learned a lesson from a story that was incomplete. He may have built emotional walls around information that was never fully explained. And now, if the missing truth becomes clear, those walls may no longer feel necessary. That does not mean everything changes overnight. Emotional understanding takes time. But one honest realization can begin a process that changes the way a person sees himself. My child, listen carefully. There is also a possibility that the secret is connected to something your soulmate once believed about another person's intentions. He may have thought someone cared for him for one reason, when the reality was more complicated. He may have accepted someone's explanation because he wanted peace. He may have chosen not to ask more questions because he believed the past should remain in the past. Yet deep inside, something still felt unfinished. Heaven sees that unfinished feeling. And now it may be leading him toward a more honest understanding. The woman may have kept information private because she knew that your soulmate would eventually connect the dots. She may have hoped that enough time would pass for those dots to disappear. But memories do not always disappear. Sometimes they wait until the right moment to make sense. That moment can arrive unexpectedly. A simple question can unlock it. A familiar name can bring it back. A forgotten detail can suddenly become important. And when those pieces connect, your soulmate may experience a quiet shock. Not because the truth is necessarily frightening, but because it changes the story he thought he knew. He may sit with that realization for a while. He may not immediately tell anyone. He may need to understand what the truth means before he can explain it. Heaven wants you to respect that process. My child, listen carefully. Your soulmate may have a moment where he realizes that he spent too much time trying to understand someone else's behavior and not enough time listening to his own heart. That realization could be deeply emotional. He may ask himself why he accepted certain things. He may wonder why he ignored certain feelings. He may recognize that he was trying to keep peace while carrying confusion inside. And this is where the secret becomes more than information. It becomes a mirror. It shows him what he tolerated, what he misunderstood, and what he needs to leave behind. The woman may have thought she was keeping control of the story. But heaven may be turning that same secret into the reason your soulmate finally takes control of his own future. This is the unexpected reversal. What was hidden to preserve the past may eventually become the reason the past loses its power. That is why you should not fear the revelation. Let the truth be truth. Let your soulmate process it in his own time. Let heaven guide your heart toward peace rather than anxiety. There is no need to chase what is already moving toward clarity. And there is something else you must remember. Your soulmate's reaction to the truth may be quieter than you expect. He may not make a dramatic announcement. He may simply become more honest. He may stop defending an old situation. He may stop making excuses for someone. He may stop questioning his own worth. That quiet change could be more meaningful than any dramatic conversation. Because sometimes the greatest revelation happens inside a person before anyone else sees it. My child, listen carefully. Heaven may be preparing your soulmate to understand that love should not require him to live inside confusion. He may begin to recognize the difference between peace and familiarity. He may understand that something being familiar does not mean it is meant to remain. And when he sees the past clearly, he may finally become available to the future. That is the connection you need to remember. The secret is not being highlighted simply because someone kept something hidden. It matters because the truth may help your soulmate release an old emotional identity. He may realize that he is not the person who made those old decisions anymore. He has grown. He has learned. He has changed. And now he can choose differently. But heaven is not finished revealing the deepest part. Because behind this woman's silence may be one final truth that your soulmate never expected to discover. It may explain why she was so determined to keep the information private. It may explain what she feared he would realize about his own heart. And when that realization finally comes, the question will no longer be what she hid. The question will be why your soulmate was never supposed to remain trapped inside that old story. My child, listen carefully. The answer is closer than you think, and the next revelation begins at the exact moment when your soulmate finally sees that the secret was never powerful because it was hidden. It was powerful because he had been building his future around a story that was never complete. My child, listen carefully. Heaven is bringing you into the deepest layer of this hidden situation now, because the secret is no longer only connected to what happened before. It is connected to what your soulmate is beginning to understand about himself. For a long time, he may have carried an old story as though it were the complete truth. He may have made emotional decisions based on that story. He may have accepted certain disappointments because he believed there was no other explanation. But heaven is showing you that one missing truth can change the meaning of many memories. The woman who kept this secret may have known exactly how much that information could affect him. That may be why she chose silence. She may have believed that if your soulmate never knew the truth, he would never question the version of events she allowed him to see. But something has changed. My child, listen carefully. Your soulmate is not looking at the past with the same eyes anymore. He has grown through experiences that changed his understanding of love, trust, and emotional honesty. What he once accepted without question may now feel incomplete. What he once ignored may now seem important. What he once called coincidence may now feel like a missing connection in a larger story. Heaven is not telling you to assume every feeling is a sign. Heaven is asking you to remain open to the possibility that clarity can arrive through ordinary moments. A simple conversation may reveal something unexpected. A familiar memory may return at exactly the right time. Someone may finally say something that was avoided for years. One sentence could make your soulmate stop and rethink everything he believed. That is how hidden truth often begins to surface. It does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it arrives quietly. My child, listen carefully. The woman may have protected the secret because she feared one particular realization. She may have feared that your soulmate would understand that his past choices were influenced by information he never received. Imagine realizing that you made important decisions without knowing the entire situation. That realization can be painful, but it can also be freeing. Your soulmate may begin to understand that he does not have to keep punishing himself for decisions made under incomplete understanding. He may finally stop asking why he was not able to see everything clearly. He may recognize that he was doing the best he could with what he knew at that time. Heaven wants that realization to bring compassion into his heart. He does not need to remain trapped inside an old version of himself. He is allowed to grow beyond it. He is allowed to choose differently now. Do not skip this message. Stay until the end, because the next piece reveals why this secret could affect his future more than his past. There may be a moment when your soulmate realizes that someone deliberately shaped what he believed. He may not immediately know why it happened. He may not even know whether the woman's intention was fear, protection, insecurity, or something else. But he may recognize that the truth was not completely available to him. That realization can change the way he understands trust. He may become more careful with the stories people tell him. He may begin asking questions instead of accepting easy answers. He may start listening to his inner sense of peace instead of allowing someone else's explanation to define his reality. This is an important transformation. Heaven may be using the revelation to teach him discernment, not suspicion. not bitterness. Discernment. There is a difference. My child, listen carefully. Your soulmate may also begin to understand why he felt emotionally pulled toward certain memories even after trying to move forward. He may have thought those memories were simply part of his past. But sometimes the mind returns to an unfinished situation because it still wants understanding. That does not mean the past must be repeated. It can mean the past needs to be understood so it can finally be released. This is why the hidden secret matters. It may provide context where there was once confusion. It may give language to emotions he could never explain. It may help him recognize that some of his old reactions were connected to questions that never received honest answers. And when those questions finally receive answers, he may feel something he has not felt in a long time. Peace. Not because everything that happened was acceptable, but because he finally understands it. Heaven wants you to understand that distinction. Peace does not require approval of the past. Peace can come from knowing the truth and deciding what the truth means for the future. Your soulmate may eventually reach that place. He may look back and realize that the secret did not define him. The woman did not define him. The old story did not define him. His choices from this point forward can be different. My child, listen carefully. There may also be a surprising emotional detail connected to this secret. The woman may have assumed that your soulmate would remain emotionally attached to the past if she controlled the information. Yet the opposite may happen. Once the truth becomes clear, he may realize how much energy he spent trying to understand something that was never fully explained. He may become tired of carrying unanswered questions. He may decide that he no longer wants emotional confusion to control his choices. This could create a quiet turning point. He may begin simplifying his life. He may stop returning to conversations that lead nowhere. He may stop defending situations that repeatedly left him uncertain. He may begin choosing relationships where honesty and peace can exist together. Heaven is showing you that this is where the revelation becomes meaningful for you. The purpose is not simply to expose a hidden detail. The purpose is to reveal what your soulmate is ready to leave behind. The secret may open his eyes, but his response will shape his future. That is why you should not focus only on the woman. Focus on the transformation inside your soulmate. My child, listen carefully. There is something your soulmate may eventually realize about the difference between being remembered and being chosen. A person can remain in someone's memories without having a place in their future. The woman may have believed that her secret could preserve an old connection. But heaven may be showing your soulmate that his future cannot be built around what someone else refuses to reveal. He needs truth. He needs clarity. He needs the freedom to make choices with open eyes. And when he understands that, he may become more honest about what his heart truly wants. This is where your connection enters the picture in a deeper way. Your presence may represent a future that does not depend on the old story. You are not being asked to compete with anyone. You are not being asked to prove your worth. Heaven is reminding you that what is genuine does not need to be forced. If your soulmate becomes ready for a healthier emotional path, he will need to choose it freely. That choice must come from understanding, not pressure. And the secret may be the very thing that helps him recognize the difference. My child, listen carefully. The woman may have believed she was protecting herself by keeping the truth hidden. But eventually, she may have to face the emotional weight of what silence created. The truth may surface through her own words, through another person's honesty, or through a detail she can no longer explain away. The exact path is unknown. What matters is that your soulmate may finally have an opportunity to understand what was missing. When that happens, he may experience several emotions at once. He may feel surprised. He may feel disappointed. He may feel relieved. He may even feel compassion for the person who kept the secret. But above all, he may feel clarity. And clarity can change a person's direction. The biggest surprise may be that the revelation does not destroy your soulmate. It may actually strengthen him. He may discover that the truth he feared was powerful enough to break him is actually powerful enough to free him from an old misunderstanding. Heaven is preparing you to understand that possibility. Do not let fear decide what the revelation means before the truth is known. Stay peaceful. Stay grounded. Stay open. Because the hidden secret is moving toward its most important moment. My child, listen carefully. The woman may have spent a long time believing that your soulmate would never know what she kept from him. But the moment is coming when silence may no longer be enough. A question will need an answer. A memory will need an explanation. A missing piece will finally have to be placed into the picture. And when your soulmate sees that piece, he may understand something that changes the entire emotional meaning of his past. But there is still one final layer. He may discover that the secret was not only about what she knew. It was about what she knew he would eventually choose once he learned the truth. That realization leads directly into the next revelation, because when the hidden story finally comes into the light, your soulmate may have to make a choice between protecting an old chapter and finally opening his heart to a completely different future. My child, listen carefully. Heaven is now bringing you to the moment where your soulmate begins to understand what the hidden secret truly means. For so long, he may have believed that the past had already given him every answer. But now, another piece is appearing. That piece may force him to reconsider a decision he once thought was final. The woman may have believed that keeping her secret would preserve the old story. Yet heaven may be showing your soulmate that his future cannot be controlled by information someone else chose to hide. Something inside him is becoming stronger. He may finally feel ready to ask the question he avoided for years. Why was this never told to me? My child, listen carefully. The answer may bring a wave of emotion, but it may also bring an unexpected sense of freedom. Your soulmate could realize that the woman was not only hiding information from him. She was also protecting herself from the consequences of being honest. That realization may change how he understands her actions. He may stop searching for excuses. He may stop trying to make everything fit into the version he was given. Instead, he may begin accepting that some truths were simply kept from him. And heaven wants you to understand what happens next. Your soulmate may start separating his old emotions from his present desires. He may realize that familiarity is not always the same as love. He may understand that history does not automatically deserve another place in his future. This can become a powerful turning point. Do not skip this message. Stay until the end, because the deepest part of this revelation is still waiting. My child, listen carefully. The secret may finally become impossible to keep because the emotional situation around your soulmate has changed. He is no longer the same person who accepted silence without questions. He may now value honesty more than comfort. He may want answers that are clear, simple, and complete. And when those answers begin arriving, something unexpected may happen inside him. He may remember you. He may think about the peace he feels when he imagines a future without confusion. He may begin comparing the uncertainty of the past with the emotional honesty he wants now. Heaven is not asking you to force that realization. Let it develop naturally. Your strength is in remaining peaceful while the truth unfolds. The secret may have been hidden for a long time, but it cannot remain the center of your soulmate's life forever. Eventually, he must decide what deserves to come with him and what belongs behind him. And that decision may begin with one final truth the woman never expected him to discover, because what she kept hidden may reveal not only the past he misunderstood, but also the future his heart has quietly been preparing to choose. My child, listen carefully. Heaven brought you through this message because there was something your heart needed to understand. The secret this woman kept may have remained hidden for a long time, but hidden does not mean forgotten. Your soulmate may now be reaching a place where honesty matters more than old explanations. He may begin to see that the past cannot control a future that is built on clarity, peace, and truth. My child, listen carefully. Do not allow fear to take over your heart while you wait for understanding. You do not need to chase the secret. You do not need to force a confession. You do not need to search for signs in every small moment. Let what is true reveal itself naturally. Heaven is reminding you that your peace is precious. If something is meant to become clear, clarity will not require you to destroy your peace to find it. The woman may eventually face the truth she kept hidden. Your soulmate may eventually understand what was missing from his story. But the most important revelation is what happens inside his heart after he understands. He may realize that he has permission to release an old chapter. He may stop carrying blame that never belonged entirely to him. He may stop allowing an incomplete story to define his emotional future. And he may finally understand what kind of connection brings peace instead of confusion. That realization can become more powerful than the secret itself. My child, listen carefully. Heaven wants you to remember that you are not required to compete with anyone from your soulmate's past. You do not need to prove that you deserve love. You do not need to convince someone to recognize your value. What is genuine should be chosen freely, with honesty and respect. Your soulmate must make his own choices. Your responsibility is to protect your heart while remaining open to what is healthy and sincere. Do not skip this message. Stay until the end, because this final reminder is for your heart. The secret may have created uncertainty, but uncertainty does not have to become your identity. You can continue living your life with faith, patience, and emotional strength. If your soulmate receives clarity, let him process it. If he needs time, let him have that time. If the truth changes his perspective, allow that change to happen without pressure. Heaven is not asking you to control the outcome. Heaven is asking you to remain steady while understanding unfolds. And remember this. Sometimes the greatest answer is not discovering every detail about someone else's past. Sometimes the greatest answer is discovering what kind of future you are willing to accept. A future built on honesty. A future built on mutual respect. A future where communication does not leave you constantly guessing. My child, listen carefully. If this message touched something deep inside you, take a quiet moment and breathe. You have heard the message. Now let your heart become still. Do not carry unnecessary fear after this video ends. Carry wisdom instead. Carry peace instead. Carry the reminder that truth does not need panic to become truth. If you believe heaven is guiding you toward clarity, comment, "I choose truth and peace." Let your comment become a simple declaration of faith and emotional strength. And if this message brought comfort or understanding to your heart, share this video with someone who may need the same reminder today. Your share could help another person pause, breathe, and remember that they do not have to live inside uncertainty forever. If you want more messages about divine guidance, soulmate connections, emotional clarity, and the signs that help you reflect on your journey, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Stay connected for the next message. My child, listen carefully. The secret may have belonged to someone else, but your peace belongs to you. Protect it. Honor it. And walk forward with faith, because sometimes the truth does not arrive to destroy your hope. Sometimes it arrives to remove the confusion that was standing between you and a clearer future. Heaven has spoken a message of patience, wisdom, and peace. Now the next step is yours. Trust the process. Keep your heart steady. And remember, what is truly meant for your life will never require you to lose yourself to receive it. Type Amen.